Trump was asked if he'll accept the election results, and he's also asked how he'll view his presidency when it's done. His answer is amazing.
In general, not talking about November, are you a good loser?
I'm not a good loser. I don't like to lose. I don't lose too often. I don't like to lose.
But are you gracious?
You don't know until you see. It depends. I think mail-in voting is going to rig the election. I really do.
Are you suggesting that you might not accept the results of the election?
I have to see. Look, Hillary Clinton asked me the same thing.
No, I asked you the same thing in the debate.
There is a tradition in this country. In fact, one of the prides of this country is the peaceful transition of power, and that no matter how hard fought a campaign is, that at the end of the campaign, that the loser concedes to the winner. Not saying that you're necessarily going to be the loser or the winner, but that the loser concedes to the winner and that the country comes together in part for the good of the country. Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Well,
okay?
Chris.
And you know what? She's the one that never accepted it.
I agree.
She never accepted her loss, and
But
she looks like a fool.
Can you give a direct answer? You will accept the election?
I have to see. Look, I have to see. No, I'm not going to just say yes. I'm not going to say no. And I didn't last time either.
Whether it's in 2021 or 2025, how will you regard your years as president of the United States?
I think I was very unfairly treated. From before I even won, I was under investigation by a bunch of thieves, crooks. It was an illegal investigation.
But what about the good parts there?
No, I want to go this. I have done more than any president in history in the first 3.5 years, and I've done it suffering through investigations where people have been, General Flynn, where people have been so unfairly treated. The Russia hoax, it was all a hoax. The Mueller scam, it was all a scam. It was all false. I made a bad decision on one bad decision, Jeff Sessions, and now I feel good because he lost overwhelmingly in the great state of Alabama. Here's the bottom line. I've been very unfairly treated, and I don't say that as paranoid. Everybody says it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but there's tremendous evidence right now as to how unfairly treated I was.
This is comedic, man. I said in a previous segment, I think there's a 95% chance now that Joe Biden is going to win. And that might even be the low number. It might be more than that. Because in the most recent poll, Biden's up 15 percentage points nationally. You know how much Hillary was up this time in 2016? 4. Biden's up 15. And then when you look at the swing states, it's even worse. And when you look at the specific issues, Biden is just crushing Trump in virtually every single category. Because of stuff like this. Hey, Don, I don't know if you noticed, there's a pandemic and a depression happening. And look at the answers he's giving to questions. He was asked, how will you regard your presidency when it's over? Whether it's, in this upcoming election or the one after, how will you regard your presidency? His answer is, I was very unfairly treated. I've done more than anybody in history. Okay, but what about the specifics? What about the details? What exactly have you done that's more than anybody in history? What exactly have you done? What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? Go ahead, I'll wait. I'm listening. I was very unfairly treated. The Russia hoax. Jeff Sessions recused himself, but I'm happy he lost his election. Look at how petty and narcissistic this man is. He can't even pretend to give a list of accomplishments. He couldn't even pretend. How will you regard your presidency? Well, before COVID came along, we had an amazing economy, probably the best economy ever. We had unemployment down at nearly 3%. It was really something special to see. The other thing I did is I made sure that I killed the Trans-Pacific Partnership to protect people's jobs. I care most about protecting people's jobs. I signed the First Step Act, which is freeing unfairly imprisoned people, and Joe Biden helped imprison those people unfairly. I freed those people. It's really incredible. It's really amazing. I made peace. People said it couldn't be done, but I made peace with North Korea. I brought peace to this world. If he was remotely serious as a human being, and if he wasn't an idiot, he has these little things he could point to and say, yes, this, and this, and then just hammer that home. Here's what I've done, which is wonderful. Instead of that, he goes right to, pity poor me. I'm treated so unfairly. Everybody's against me, but I'm so great anyway. You can't just say that. You have to explain how and why in the specific. He doesn't do that. He is so screwed. He's so screwed. There's not a single, I don't even care for the most hardcore Trump supporter. You watch that and you go, oh, this is sad. This is sad. You didn't even have a list of 5 things you could, hit when you're asked that question. You didn't have a list of anything. You went right to, I'm so unfairly treated. You know who's unfairly treated? The person who lost their job because there's a pandemic and a depression. You know who's unfairly treated? The person who had to take a 25% pay cut as a result of what's happening now with the economy. You know who's unfairly treated? I don't know, maybe the 40% of small businesses that are going to go belly up as a result of COVID and the depression. The 40% of childcare centers which are going to go belly up, which is another national crisis that we never talk about. The 32% of Americans who can't pay their rent or their mortgage. 32%. The 28 million people, or a report just came out, 28 million people could be homeless within a year or two now as a result of what's happening. 28 million. 28 million. You know what the number is now? Homelessness, I think it's about 600,000 people. 28 million. That's more than the population of a bunch of our giant cities combined. What about them? Are they unfairly treated? You tell me, Don, are they unfairly treated? How about any of the 140,000 people who died from COVID-19? Are they unfairly treated? Were they unfairly treated when you refused to do a mask mandate early on? Was that them being unfairly treated? Talking about how he's unfairly treated. Look around! Read the room! Every time he talks, he plummets more and more in the polls because of stuff like this. The final thing, he says, I really think mail-in voting is going to rig the election. See, he's already getting his excuses in. Get your excuses in early. Let's go. I think mail-in voting is going to rig the election. My favorite story about Trump discussing mail-in voting. There was a special election that happened relatively recently. There were just a handful of elections. Trump goes out there in a press conference, or he's answering questions from the media. He may have been in like some sort of meeting or whatever. And he goes, this mail-in voting, there's a lot of rigging. It's very corrupt. People with the mail-in voting, it's not good. It's not good. They could rig it. It's not a good thing. Really bad. And we had 2 great elections yesterday where Republicans won. Those were mail-in elections because of the pandemic. Those were mail-in elections. Saying mail-in voting rigs it, and then, isn't it great that our Republicans won in the election yesterday? Wait, you just said it's rigged. So did the Republicans rig it for them to win? Oh, no, it's only when the Democrats win, then it's rigged. But when the Republicans rig, even when it's by mail-in, which I say rigs it, no, it only counts when it's Democrats. That's when it's rigged. That's when it's fake. When Republicans win, even if it's the thing I say is rigged, it's not rigged because the Republicans win. Do you see how self-serving this idiot is? Do you see how he just twists stuff all the time and flips it to try to, make his case and make himself look good and protect the Republicans? There's not an honest bone in this dude's body, man. He is so full of shit, it's coming out of his ears and his eyeballs. So take note of all this stuff. This is disgusting. And now, when he loses, which is a lot more likely than saying if at this point, we better make sure we get his ass out of there. Because he's going to cry and he's going to whine like the little bitch he is. When, you should have done something to stop the pandemic, something that worked. And you should have done something to prevent the depression or at least ameliorate it if you really wanted to stay in that office.